Our company had a charity event at a nursing home, and I unexpectedly ran into my wife, Linda, who was supposed to be on vacation. She was wearing an old apron and washing the feet of an elderly person in a wheelchair. The elderly lady next to them said, "You're so lucky to have such a wonderful daughter-in-law. She's been here for days, tirelessly taking care of everyone. She's so respectful." Linda shyly replied, "A mother-in-law is like a second mom. It's just what I should do." I couldn't help but applaud the heartwarming scene. But wait, when did my mom come back to life? The laughter in the room stopped abruptly, and everyone looked at me. "Who's this guy? What's with that comment?" Linda awkwardly smiled and said, "You must be Vincent, the performer for today's charity event, right? Always so quirky and humorous." She pointed out the direction of the hall, asking me to head over. "Our company does a special charity event every time someone gets promoted. This time it was for me. Thanks to managing my late mom with dementia, I knew how to make elders happy. But who could have guessed I'd see my wife here, who just texted me complaining about the high prices at a tourist spot. And now, suddenly, she's someone else's daughter-in-law." I waited outside for her. Everyone continued chatting, probably accepting Linda's explanation. "Linda, you look all soft and gentle, yet you can handle all sorts of chores." "Yeah, and you're better than my own kids," Linda humbly replied while cleaning up. "Oh, you flatter me. I'm just doing what I can." Then she walked to the hall, turning serious once out of sight. She seemed deep in thought. Seeing me startled her. "Why are you still here?" Linda was thrown off track. I felt my anger rising. "Why the lie? Who's that lady?" Suddenly worried, she whispered sharply, "Why are you yelling? You're gonna blow this." I wanted to explain at home. Got it? I wasn't about to lose my cool. I just needed an explanation. What took so long? Just explain it already. She bumped me, which hurt. An old guy with a cane glared, "What are you doing?" "Scaring off Linda." "Are you?" More people chimed in, "Linda's our sweetheart here. You better watch it." Linda broke free, wiping tears, "Vincent, just because you have money doesn't mean I want anything from you. Remember, you're married. Be decent." The crowd got angrier, talking about calling the cops. I was dodging slaps and shouting I wasn't who they thought, but no one was listening. My assistant rushed in, pulled me back. "Vincent, chill. These folks are older. You don't want this blowing up," he said, smiling apologetically to everyone. "Really sorry. Vincent had a bit too much to drink." He made sense, and unwillingly, I kept my cool and left, deciding not to look back at Linda. Then my boss called, furious. "Vincent, you just got promoted and caused a mess. You're suspended, and you need to apologize to the victim personally." He hung up before I could explain. Trying Linda's phone, she had it turned off. Returning to the nursing home would only escalate things, so I had to go home and wait. It was late when Linda came in, bringing meds for the bruises. She sat beside me on the sofa, gently treating my wounds, looking concerned. "Does it hurt?" "That old guy hit hard," she said softly. "Getting hit by a psycho, it's gonna hurt," I replied, annoyed. Linda gave me a side eye. "Still mad?" she asked. In that situation, what could I say? Everyone thought I was Wendy's daughter-in-law. "I can't have them thinking I'm double-crossing," Linda said. That ticked me off. I pulled my leg away. "Couldn't you say something different?" I almost got fired. Now I'm at home, suspended, just waiting on more people to rub it in. Linda paused, tearily leaning on my shoulder. "I'm sorry, really?" Panicked. It all happened so fast. "And, weren't you curious about Wendy? She's actually just a lonely old woman. Every time I bring snacks to the senior home, I see her sitting all alone off to the side, and it reminds me of your mom." As she spoke, Linda started sobbing uncontrollably. Thinking about my mom, my nose began to tingle with emotion. We were poor growing up. My mom raised me all by herself. When I finally had the means to give her a good life, she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and she didn't last much longer. Seeing Linda's tears fall like rain, I softened and gently pulled her into an embrace. "I'm sorry, honey. I didn't think it through back then. Even though my mom didn't live with us in the 2 years since we got married, I know you treated her like your own mom. Otherwise, you wouldn't have tirelessly cared for her day and night when she got sick. With a lump in my throat, I met her eyes. But honey, Mom's gone. No matter how much Wendy seems like her, she's not our mom. If you wear yourself out like this, it's going to affect your health. Linda buried her head in my chest, sobbing. I know, hubby. I need to face reality. With all the misunderstandings cleared up, we decided we'd go to the senior home together tomorrow to explain everything. I promised Linda that I'd go with her to visit Wendy from now on. We didn't go back to the bedroom, we just rested on the couch. Linda fell asleep on my chest, and as I stroked her hair, I listened to her breathing and felt grateful for having such a kind-hearted wife. It was a bit bittersweet. I wish my mom could see us now. She would have been so happy to see how close we are. Yet, I noticed a faint floral scent on my hand after touching Linda's hair. Totally different than our shampoo at home. Linda is super picky about her shampoo and would never switch or go to a salon. Puzzled me, but then I remembered the seniors mentioning that Wendy goes home at night. Maybe Linda helped Wendy get home and washed her hair there. Linda's clean freak habits would make her wash up after caring for someone with Alzheimer's, after all. I chuckled and shook my head, laughing at how overly sensitive I'd become. I must have fallen asleep because when I woke up, Linda was gone. On the kitchen table, she'd left a note beside breakfast. Hubby, you've been exhausted from all the overtime lately. Use this time to truly rest up. Leave the senior home issue to me. Love, your wife. Feeling grateful, I drank some warm milk, feeling a sense of warmth in my stomach and in my heart. Since we started dating, Linda has always been so considerate. People always talk about the 7-year itch, but after dating for 5 years and being married for 2, we still feel like we're in the honeymoon phase. Thinking about it, I laughed out loud in happiness. Bzzz. My phone rang. It was my boss. I hurried up to answer, ready to tell him the issues at the senior home were getting sorted. But he laid into me before I could get a word out. Vincent, do you want to lose your job? I've had 800 complaint calls from the senior home this morning. Did you stir up trouble again? Don't want to work? Then get out. Beep, beep, beep. He didn't even give me a chance to explain. Feeling confused, I mulled over the boss's words. Even if Linda hadn't cleared things up yet, there's no way they'd bombard my company like that. I quickly tried calling Linda. Her phone was off. I hastily called the senior home, and the person said, Linda? She called this morning to say she and her mother-in-law wouldn't be coming today. I was stunned, starting to have doubts. Do you know where Wendy lives? The person on the other end sighed. Why do you sound so familiar? Are you that weirdo from yesterday? Trying to follow them home. Huh? Knowing there was no point in explaining, I hung up. What I desperately wanted to know was where on earth Linda went and what was up with her and Wendy. She's definitely hiding something from me. Linda's parents live back home, so asking them didn't seem viable. I started calling all Linda's friends, but no one knew where she was. I even went to all her favorite hangouts, and no one had seen her. I was running in circles, feeling increasingly anxious. Could Wendy be faking Alzheimer's, and after finding out Linda wouldn't care for her anymore, tricked her into getting sold off? There have been cases like that in the news. Just as I opened the door, Linda returned, carrying a big bag of groceries and a cake. She smiled and greeted me cheerfully. Honey, did you have some sixth sense I was at the door and open it for me? I knew you were the best. We're going to celebrate today. I was puzzled. Celebrate what? Where were you today? And why was your phone off? Linda pouted playfully, rolling her eyes. Ah, you forgot our wedding anniversary, didn't you? I even bought a cake to surprise you. It dawned on me. I'd been so swamped trying to get promoted that I forgot something so important. I apologized. Sorry, honey. I didn't even get a chance to get you a gift. I put the day's drama aside for now. Linda giggled. It's okay. I know you're busy for our family. Plus, you always send me your money, keeping just a little for yourself. You don't have the funds to get me anything. Anyway, I wouldn't settle for less than $1,000. I laughed along with her, scratching my head sheepishly. We cooked dinner together, Linda handling the kitchen while I helped, putting together a feast. Just as we were plating, Linda sprinkled cilantro over every dish. In 7 years together, we've never had cilantro in our food. Linda saw my astonished expression and gasped. Oh no, I forgot you don't eat cilantro. I've been watching way too many food videos lately, trying to make things look nice. It gives me a warm feeling inside. I smiled and patted her head. No worries, I'll slowly sort it out in a bit, I said. For her to secretly learn cooking just to make meals for me, she's amazing. We cuddled up, opened the cake, lit the candles, and made a wish in the glow of the flames, to love each other forever. From the depths of the mood, Linda brought out a treasured bottle of wine. Come on, let's have a drink. Neither of us can hold our liquor, but we were just too happy. We kept pouring one glass after another, chatting about this and that. Pretty soon, I was dizzy and slumped over the table. Linda quickly came over to help me up. You didn't get much rest yesterday. You should go and get a good sleep in the bedroom, she said with concern. I obediently lay down on the bed, pulling her into my arms. In the dim light, her big, dewy eyes were even more captivating. I couldn't help but lean in for a kiss, but Linda dodged away. Babe, I've had too much to drink and I'm not feeling well. I want to rest. I'll just run to the bathroom first. Be good. Okay? I closed my eyes obediently, but the headache kept me awake. I don't know how much time passed before I heard Linda's footsteps leaving. I lay there like a little kid, not moving, waiting for her to come back and comfort me. But after 20 minutes had passed, she still didn't return. Worried that something happened to her, I immediately got up to go check the bathroom. Suddenly, a phone lit up nearby. A text notification. Dear Diamond card holder, welcome to M City Hotel. We will provide you with the highest level of service. I was puzzled. Are scammers this sneaky nowadays? M City Hotel is the most expensive in our area, requiring a minimum spend of at least $100,000 to get a diamond card. Fueled by the alcohol, I wanted to call back and mock them. But the face unlock failed a few times, and the password didn't work either. That's when I realized it was Linda's phone. We had each just bought the latest matching couple phones, but she deleted all the fingerprint and face IDs of mine. Before, all our electronic devices shared passwords, and we could browse freely. What now? I suddenly sobered up quite a bit, my mind much clearer. I got up and strode to the bathroom. There was no one there. From the look of the living room, Linda had likely left. Could that text really be true? I quickly checked M City Hotel's official number online, and it matched. At that moment, my blood was boiling, my head about to explode. The street was chilly at night, and it only took 5 minutes to get to the scene. I parked the car and rushed into the lobby, where the employees were whispering to each other. What do you think those 3 people are? No need to guess, you can tell just by looking. They're really going at it. My mind couldn't help but connect it to Linda, and my blood pressure shot up. Fighting the tremor in my hands, I left Linda's phone at the front desk. Hi, a lady with a diamond card just checked in. I'm her brother bringing her phone, I said. The front desk person smiled and took it. All right, we'll arrange to have it delivered right away. But sorry, sir. There's a policy here where visitors must register. Could you fill this out? And we'll have to confirm with the guest before you can go up. Please understand. No way. In Linda's mind, I was still asleep in bed. This would expose me. Just as I was thinking about what to do, a hotel staff member came through the side entrance, muttering, "This guest is strange. The hotel gives out really good free umbrellas, but she insists on this particular brand, even with flavors. I don't get it." In his hand, I noticed a brand identical to what Linda stocked up on at home. My fists clenched, and I kept my eyes locked on him. A few meters away from the lobby, the man knocked on a door. Seconds later, it opened. It was really Linda. I almost passed out. She was wearing the hotel's robe, her hair was damp, clearly just after a shower. "Thank you," she said. The warm air inside wafted out, and I recognized the familiar scent of shampoo. It was just like what was on Linda's head last night. She had been there the night before. Linda turned to the man with a sweet call. "Honey, didn't you say you wanted to get some food earlier? The staff are here. Tell them what you want." Then a man came over and wrapped his arms around her waist from behind. "If it weren't for you, I'm starving," he said. "Is your mom hungry too? Let's just get sashimi and sushi from that place we always go to. They're still open." Linda tilted her head and pouted. "But that place doesn't have your favorite cilantro. Should we have the staff help buy some?" Linda turned back to grab some money, and the man revealed a bit of his profile. I was instantly floored. This man, I knew him too. Lucas was a mutual friend from college. Linda had dated him for 2 years starting in our freshman year. By the 3rd year, Lucas's parents were transferred for work, and he moved overseas, supposedly getting married not long after. Linda was heartbroken, and to pass the time and cheer herself up, she joined the badminton club, where we met. I never would have guessed they'd reconnected. A crazy idea crossed my mind. I looked up, devastated, and asked, "Did they bring an older woman, someone in a wheelchair who maybe looks not all there?" The receptionist nodded instinctively, then shook her head. "Sorry, we can't disclose customer information." So that's it. That Wendy was Lucas's mom. Everything I saw was real. Only the things Linda told me were lies. My hands started trembling uncontrollably, and my heart felt gripped by something. I leaned against the wall, gasping for air, trying to calm myself. But the image of them together lingered, refusing to clear from my mind, making it impossible to think. I felt my stomach churning and I puked everywhere. "Sir, are you all right? Should I call an ambulance?" Wiping my mouth, I looked up at him. "Call the cops for me." Inside, "It's my wife. But you just said you're her brother. I'm begging you. Call the cops." I clutched my chest, shouting in desperation. The staff couldn't refuse me, worried I might cause a scene. They quickly called the police. The cops arrived fast, and I pointed to that room, nearly crying. "Officer, I'm reporting prostitution in there." The police knocked on the door. "Open up. Police check." After a million knocks, with the staff ready to use a universal card, the door finally opened. Linda hurriedly combed her half-wet hair, and Lucas's jacket buttons were all wrong. A faint, unpleasant smell lingered. It was obvious what they'd just been up to. "Officer, there must be a mistake. We're upstanding citizens, not hiding any illegal stuff." The officers grabbed their clothes. "Room check, there's been a report of prostitution." Neighbors peeked out, sizing up the pair. Linda's face flashed with panic. "We're innocent. We're a couple." Lucas chimed in, "Officer, there's got to be some misunderstanding. Can't we sort this out inside? The cops weren't buying it. We're just doing our job. Let's go." Linda was pulled forward, reluctant and not daring to argue too much. "But officer, my mother-in-law is inside. She has dementia and needs constant care. Only I can look after her. Nobody else can." Lucas backed her up. "Yeah, officer, my mom's been like this for years. We couldn't leave her alone. My wife cares for her. Why not let me go with you instead?" I clenched my fist, forcing a smile as I stepped forward. "No worries, I'll look after her. Your mother-in-law, your mom." I spat those words through gritted teeth. Linda noticed me there for the first time, her face turning even paler. "How are you awake? You drank so much." I sneered. "What? Thought you covered your tracks? If you hadn't filled me with booze, I wouldn't have passed out. And you grabbed the wrong phone. That's how I got your check-in text. Linda, this is too much. An hour ago, you were sweet-talking me, and then you run off to this shameless fling. You missed your calling as an actress." I let all my pent-up anger spill out. Linda muttered under her breath, "Damn it. I didn't notice the phone was off." She was embarrassed, unable to utter a word. Onlookers murmured, "They're having an affair?" Thought they were just being good to bring his mom along to a hotel. All this time, I thought they were just spicing up their marriage. Turns out it was the scandalous, absolutely sickening. My body froze again, anger flaring. So, they've been at it for years. Yet, I've only been married to Linda for 2 years. All this time, I've been a fool. I trembled as I faced the officers. "Officer, even if she's my wife, I can't tolerate what she's done. I will fully cooperate with your investigation." When Linda heard my words, She lashed out but was held back by the cops. "Don't disturb others. We'll discuss it back at the station." The three of us were loaded into the squad car. 2 officers in the front, Linda between Lucas and me in the back. Lucas kept throwing side eyes at me, then tried touching Linda's pants. Linda blushed, letting out a squeak, which caught the officer's attention. "Sorry, officer, it's just bumpy back here." Before they could turn around, I spoke up. "Officer, they're still trying to hook up back here." Linda glared at me to shut up. I choked back tears and added more. "Officer, she's threatening me." Lucas snapped, "Vincent, stop making stuff up. You called them, didn't you? False reporting is a crime." I shot back. "What you're up to isn't obvious. Who do you think you're fooling?" The officer cut off our bickering. "Enough. Sort it out at the station." Once we arrived at the station, we were all taken inside. It should have been separate interrogation rooms, but it was late. So 2 officers interrogated the 3 of us. Since I was the one who called, I didn't need cuffs and sat closest to the officers. Lucas and Linda, handcuffed, sat in opposite corners. One officer opened a notebook, pen in hand. "You said she's your wife, show some ID." I quickly pulled out my documents. My ID, our household registration, marriage certificate. Her ID should be on her. She checked in earlier. Linda and Lucas's IDs were collected, along with their phones. The officers logged in the details, then addressed Linda. "So, how long have you been doing this?" Linda was annoyed but kept her cool. "Officer, Lucas's just a friend. I was helping him care for his mom. She wanted this when she was well. That's why I say she's my mother-in-law. Plus, you saw we were clothed. We didn't do anything." I couldn't help but laugh sarcastically. "Linda, do you think everyone here is stupid? Lying to me is one thing, but to the cops. Found it." Over the years, Linda has spent hundreds, possibly thousands, at hotels in City M. And there are a lot of transfers from Linda's account to Lucas's, sometimes hundreds, sometimes tens of thousands. The transfer times match up with when they booked rooms. My colleagues just went to investigate. The hotel staff confirmed they were having a wild time. They often ask staff to buy little toys, and there was always talk about paying after it was over. Looks like Vincent didn't file a false report. The cop capped his pen and suggested detaining them for now. Lucas was panicking. "Officer, you can't do this. My mom's still at the hotel. Besides, we're not what you think. At most, we're just having an affair. Pay after is just our little game. Just teasing." Linda willingly gave me those transfers. "It's our date fund. Not something illegal. An affair." 3 words said so confidently, like it's something noble. After Lucas admitted it, Linda didn't want to get detained, so she went along with it, turning away from me, not meeting my eyes. I got up and forced her to look at me. "Linda, so all these years, the money I gave you, you gave it all to him? You spent at least 100 grand at hotels, and it seems like you paid for Lucas's mom's expenses at the nursing home too, right? Linda, how could you? You know how I treated you. I kept you close, didn't let you lift a finger. In college, I saved some of my allowance to pay for your tuition and treated you to good food. After graduating, I never let you work a day, and did all the house chores myself. I trusted you wanted a future together, so I gave you everything willingly, handing over all my money to you, and this is what I get." I'm choking up. "You said you were saving money for our future kids. I barely dared to spend $200 on myself a month, so it was all a lie. You never wanted to have kids with me, never wanted a future with me." Linda's chest heaved, glaring defiantly. "What about me? Didn't I give anything? I gave you my best years. My youth is invaluable. And you gave me the money. I can spend it however I want. It's none of your business." Looking at this familiar yet now strange woman, a deep sadness filled me. Lucas seized the moment to add fuel to the fire. "Vincent, a man treating a woman well is a given. Who says you have to flaunt your sacrifices? And isn't a man's money meant to be spent by his woman? Why are you digging into this? Did you keep track of how much you gave Linda for some kind of accounting?" He looked at the cop, sucking up. "Officer, you see? This proves he filed a false report. He knew about our relationship, and that's why he reported us. He's disrupting social order. Get him out of here. The cop slammed the table, saying something that made my blood run cold. Lucas, you've got a record. That incident where Becky got killed, if it wasn't for Vincent's letter of forgiveness, you'd be behind bars now. How can you still be tangled up with his wife? I gotta criticize you on that. My scalp prickled, chills crawling up my spine. Becky is my mom. Officer, what do you mean by that? Wasn't it a sudden health issue that caused her death? I never wrote any letter of forgiveness. I know nothing about this, I shouted, clinging to the officer's arm, and Linda visibly panicked. Vincent, stop it, let's talk about this elsewhere. Why are you bothering the officer? Shut up. I pointed at her, furious. Didn't you say you couldn't bear losing my mom? Didn't you cry for a long time? How come you're indifferent now? A ridiculous thought crossed my mind. Could she have known? Linda's face went pale, struggling to find words. Lucas didn't look so good either. Gone was his sharp tongue, replaced by nervous sweat beading on his forehead. The officer noticed something was up, taking me aside. After my mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, the doctor said medication and rehab could help. It wouldn't cure her, but it would prevent it from getting worse. To extend her life, we'd need money. So I dove into work, taking on side gigs to afford the best treatment and therapy for her. Linda was supportive, saying we'd do anything to keep my mom safe. She brought my mom from our hometown, taking care of her tirelessly. But it didn't last. In just 2 months, my mom died in a car accident on her way to the hospital, instantly killed. It wasn't a sudden health issue like Linda told me, and the driver was Lucas. The surveillance was clear, Lucas deliberately driving the wrong way, running straight into my vehicle. He claimed it was a mistake, being unfamiliar with the area, causing the accident. My letter of forgiveness got him released after just a few days. That letter had my fingerprints and signature, but anyone could tell that wasn't my handwriting. It was my wife, Linda, who forged it. And like a fool, I was grateful for what she, as I thought at the time, was doing for me. My so-called salvation was putting my mom's killer back on the streets. My world came crashing down. I bolted out after them. Lucas and Linda were leaving the station. Without the prostitution charges, it was deemed a domestic dispute. They were free to go. Enraged, I charged, punching the back of Lucas's head, slapping Linda across the face. You conspired to kill my mom. I'll kill you both. Without the constraints of the police station, Lucas didn't hold back and punched me hard. Linda gave me a nasty kick too, landing it right on my leg's wound. The pain made me sweat, and my leg nearly gave out. They dragged me to a corner where there were no cameras. Lucas grabbed my jaw tight and spat on me. Still think you can take me on? I hit your mom on purpose, what are you gonna do about it? Linda kicked my knee and snarled, Vincent, since it's all out in the open, there's no point in hiding it. I wanted to talk this out with you, but you dared to hit me. No one's ever done that. I glared at her sideways, my jaw clenched. Linda, my mom was so good to you, and this is how you treat her? From the day you joined this family, she gave you her gold jewelry, even bought you new stuff often. She had dementia. Sometimes she even forgot me. But she always remembered you and treated you like her own daughter. If you didn't want to take care of her, you could have just said so. Why make her suffer so? Why such a terrible end? Linda laughed coldly, don't be naive. Your mom had terminal cancer, a bottomless pit. Even if you let her enjoy the good life, she wouldn't remember it. Better she be reborn sooner and maybe into a better family. Lucas laughed and pulled Linda closer around the waist, giving me a mocking look. Vincent, why so mad? Want a divorce? Knowing you, that's about all you can do. Don't worry, Linda won't mind. Your savings over the years? Already in my pocket. He smirked, including your mom's medical bills. But hey, don't worry. I'll treat Linda better with your money. The two fantasized about their bright future and started kissing. Watching these shameless clowns, I laughed. All right then, hope you two live long enough to enjoy it. I shouted behind me, Officer, come on out. In no time, a group of cops surrounded us. Linda and Lucas were pulled apart and handcuffed. Linda, Lucas, you're under arrest for murder, an officer announced. Linda trembled in disbelief. Vincent, you set me up. Lucas struggled and tried to kick me but was subdued by the police. Vincent, you sneaky bastard. You schemed this out? I stared them down, responding coldly, you two despicable scumbags. Enjoy your life inside. With their arrests, my mom's death was finally resolved. They got an extra 20 years for perjury and fabricating evidence. I was held for filing a false police report. The day I got out, the sky was a bright blue. The air smelled of fresh earth. Spring was near. I bowed my head, feeling bittersweet. Mom loved spring. I went to her grave with her favorite flowers. Bowing deeply, I whispered, Mom, I'm sorry. It's all my fault for trusting the wrong people. I sat there thinking about the past, crying like a rainstorm. It was nearly dusk when I finally left. Days later, I was officially divorced. Besides serving time, Linda had to repay all the money she spent over the years. Her parents kept calling me, begging for mercy, but I turned them down flatly. Soon enough, the prison called. Through the bars, I saw Linda had cut her hair, with huge dark circles under her eyes. She looked down, a bit embarrassed. Vincent, thanks for coming. I know you still care. I kept my face cold. Why are we here, Linda? Just to talk? She tried digging up the past, but I cut her off sharply. When I turned to leave, she stopped me. Vincent, my dad fell ill over my mess and needs surgery we can't afford. Please remember the good times and help us. I promise I'll repay you one day. I just laughed at her. Linda, this mess is your doing. Has nothing to do with me. We're divorced. I owe you nothing. Now we're just debtor and creditor. Think about repaying what you owe. Lucas doesn't seem the type to help out. Linda broke down and clung to the bars, sobbing. I walked away, stepping into a new chapter of my life. Later, I took the staff to the senior home. The officer handling Wendy's case joined us too. With the truth out, everyone apologized sincerely. I took it in stride and even performed one of Mom's favorite dances. After organizing some donations, I went back to work. My colleagues cheered me on, giving me strength to carry on. I smiled, opened my arms, shared high fives, and hugged them. I'll live well, making this life my own.